the YouTube stream.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. All right, so here's where we left it last week. Last time we had an ability to... Greg, what is my to-do list? It will listen for Greg. It will parse that out. It says, Greg figures out that I say, Greg, what is my to-do list? If it sees to-do list in here, then it's printing out this file that we had sort of started putting together a format for here. We started putting together a grocery list here with some done and not done. But we were talking about it and we were thinking, so it's kind of cool so that we could follow along with this sort of in this vein. And what we have right now is we have a method called very bad LLM, which is just a bunch of include statements, which is pretty, this doesn't feel like it's gonna be all that inspiring. So what we have been playing around with is we installed Ollama locally, and let me see. Ollama run, and I think if I just do, what time is it? Oops.
Oh, you got to close off a quote there, buddy.
Yes, we have our locally running LLM here, which was quite easy to install.
In this case, it's not helpful, but...
But perhaps it could be voice activated, not helpful.
I do love that it suggests that if you want to know what time it is, you check a clock. That's very helpful.
Well, you know, get a life, it says. So we were thinking about what to do and how to sort of bring these things together. I was sort of thought, I think it would be interesting to see how far we can take it. So I sort of put a theoretical test together where if we had something, if this was sort of an input, this was our file storage here of a to-do list, and we wanted to get to here, if something says, Greg, add pears to the shopping list, and we could get this to do, so we could get an LLM to sort of read in the current shopping list, perform a directive on it, and output it back out as a markdown. That seems like a pretty cool start.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we should mention Ollama is really neat because it lets you run a lot of different models locally. It is sort of an abstraction layer so that you can run multiple models and speak to them all over a common API. And it does expose a JSON API.
Yeah.
It's going to tell you to go look at a calculator for this one. Oh, no, that was nice of it.
What I really like about it relative to hitting the ChatGPT API too is it just feels lightning fast locally. So it feels... I'm pretty excited to play with that.
Yeah, absolutely. That first run you did on it was a little slower because it was spinning all the magic up, but then it sort of is just running in memory, provided you have a beefy enough system, and modern MacBooks are in good shape for that.
Heck yeah. So it seems, I guess one nice thing, it does seem like this is sort of, this is a separable problem from the whole voice side of the equation.
Sure, absolutely.
So we could not have to talk at it for a little bit and then sort of plug them together in a later step. So, yeah, what are your thoughts? Where should we start on this, Jeffrey?
So I think the best place to start is to go ahead and get just like so I think we want to talk to this over... Well, we could talk to it over curl through the API, or we could just actually shell out the same way you're doing it now, right? You're just quoting it.
Yeah.
So that's probably fine. But just to get something reproducible there and then start iterating over that prompt feels useful.
Feels good. So I put this in a file called test here. Should I clean this up or should we just...
a great name for a file.
It's not actually a test, so maybe I should...
It's not, which is fascinating. Maybe call it LLM test or something.
LLM test. I know how to do things. Okay. And I have a lot of files here I don't need.
Yeah, we can delete all this.
Okay. That looks
much better.
Yay. Okay. I'd try mini test. How do I make just a normal file a test, or should we use a real test?
Mini test is fine. I mean, we also could just have a Ruby script that we're running here,
Sure.
but then we don't get the nice assert equals. So yeah, let's go the mini test route. So you'll need to have it in your gem file. Got it. So we can bundle that. And then at the top, before that, we're going to want to require mini test / auto run. Perfect. And then our test needs to inherit from mini test : test. Okay. And I think if we like bundle exec this file now.
Bundle exec, yeah.
Oh no, okay, we're good. So yes, LLM is not defined. That makes sense.
Hey, here we go. We're red greening it. All right. Create a new Ruby class. Well, yeah, I think it would assume that. Let's do it here. All right, an LLM.
Right, and what is the? So I was early into Cucumber, and Cucumber is this interesting technology, obviously, that has died in, or at least its popularity has died out, I think, in a lot of places. But the Cucumber book in the early Cucumber days had this awesome thing where you generated your test and it said, now write the code you wish you had. And so the idea there is just like to write that. Again, it's getting back to what we talked about last time, making the lies and then making them true. And so you've lied about our interface here, that we have like this process method with some markdown and some directives. So I think we could just start building that. If process is what we want to call it, I think that's fine.
Yeah. We got input markdown, we got an output markdown, directives. Yeah. Seems all right.
Let's go from there. We can always change it as we go.
All right. Ooh, I don't know what that'll do. Too scared.
It's good to be scared.
All right, so we've got a process method, and it takes some markdown and some directives.
Right now, it should be a class method as you're using it over in the other file. But we can certainly change that.
A little, so we can. Oops, come here. All right.
Okie dokie.
It's going to take that, and we can return some output and some. What do you think? True pairs.
Okay, so you're thinking we get the modified content true because it was modified, and then pairs is the thing that was added.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll buy that for $1. We probably need to require a relative or something here. Okay.
Fair. Ooh. Oh, great. I had like a result object here, I guess, actually. I don't know if I want to do that or not.
Yeah, so you can just make these. Yeah. Lovely.
Hey. All right.
Okay.
Didn't do it right.
So
We're gonna
one
need
of our
more
outputs
logic.
is more conversational. Yeah. And so I guess the question is like, if we just give it this output, or sorry, if we give it our input markdown, and then we just give it our directives, what do we get to begin with? And then we can sort of figure out where we need to be massaging.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we'll create a prompt. And we'll say, given the input, do a bad one first. Given the input, modify it according to the directive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly reasonable naive prompt.
Uh,
No, it's good to be naive though, right? That's a great place to start.
I think that's a compliment, but you know, we'll see. Llama run and
Yeah. We would want to use some clever shell escape for this in the real world, but for now, this is fine. That's actually really close to what we wanted.
what? Dang. All right. I mean, yeah, that's exactly what we wanted.
Yeah,
Right.
so I think the interesting part here is
And
that
just like that, Jeffrey and Jeff
the
put themselves out of business, out of the careers were taken from them.
yeah, thankfully we need to do a little more than add items to a markdown list, but it's it's still just a matter of time. So in your assertion,
Yeah.
the third item is sort of the confirmation. Right now, we're sort of seeing that as the first line of the text that the LLM is generating.
Yeah.
It's phrased differently, certainly, but we probably want to do a little bit of prompting here to help it give us better results. So, for instance, we maybe that confirmation actually isn't useful.
I was thinking that we could maybe it could say it to us or something, but it's definitely not required. So a couple ways we could do it to give it some suggestions. We could give it some. We could ask for JSON in the response. We could give some examples of what doing a good
Right,
job
exactly.
look like. Maybe we just give it the test case here. This is
Yeah, that's sort of
teaching the
I
test.
would. Yeah, it's almost like asserting true though on some level.
Well, okay.
So we probably should mix it up a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
here we go.
Kiwis.
Kiwis. It should work for all types of fruit.
Yeah, only fruit though.
Oh God, can't spell raspberries. And that and add some devil dogs to the shopping list.
Now, devil dogs, is that a sweet snack?
It
So like a
is.
Hostess Twinkie sort of?
It is
Okay.
like it's a chocolatey kind of Twinkie with a little bit of cream in the inside. I got
Okay.
a very odd hankering for it that was just satisfied. It was I haven't had one in 20 years.
Fascinating. So we're gonna get into a weird spot here because of your quoting.
Yeah. Bum.
We can EOM it or whatever.
That's probably better. Is that like this? Something?
I think it's equals and then Oh man, I never remember the
Yeah,
syntax
this
offhand.
one's the hardest.
I'm gonna Google it for you. Okay, so it's equals and then less than less than.
Double less than.
Yep, and then you just need to throw your EOM down at the bottom. There we go.
I think that's not working.
You know what? No, this should. I'm sorry. It's actually greater than, not less than, less than. I've
Great
never
answers,
seen
Emma.
human numbers. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, you're still beating me and typing the other thing there. All right, and so now we're going to say we want the output to be. Oh yeah.
And this should be the whole shopping list, right?
Yeah. Got a bunch of.
So you technically can't have line breaks in there. We'll have to like slash in those.
Maybe it'll just figure it out.
Okay, maybe so.
Devil dogs. All right.
Okay, so we got our output with the shopping list that did add pairs,
Yeah.
but it did not only return JSON.
Mm-hmm.
It also
Yeah. Do not.
Do you ever wish you could talk to people like this? That's definitely misanthropic, but some interactions feel so overblown. Okay. I think this is actually right. I think the problem is we're expecting just the raw part over in our test, so we'll need to do a little parsing there.
Yeah. Yeah, so what I actually, so this is the result, and I actually sort of want to.
Oh yeah, you can do that over here. That's right. That makes more sense.
Over the output. So yeah, where did I? So the output. Oh, it's what I want.
Is the actual list content. So we can do the JSON.parse in our LLM.RB here.
So?
Yeah, we're making a lot of assumptions about it returning well-formed JSON, but yes, we do need to require JSON and then bundle install that probably. Although maybe it's built into modern versions of Ruby.
Unexpected token.
Oh, so
is this our new lines?
I think it may be our new line thing. Yeah, let's give it a better example. So on line 22, let's move line 23 up to the end of that, and then new line this boy.
This has to be a one-liner?
Yep. Yeah, so backspace /n. Yep.
Gotcha. I
have this affectation where I'm like, oh, we got to do this to this guy, and we got to do this to that guy. And so my 6-year-old the other day was like, what are we going to do with this guy, Dad? Oh, no. What have I done?
All right.
Okay, that might work. Well, no, that's still...
Parse error.
Oh, I think our new lines are being interpreted as literal new lines. Or, sorry, they're... You know what I mean. They're being rendered in what's given to the prompt. So I think we need to slash the slashes.
Double slashes? Yeah.
Yeah, escape them, boys. Okay. Unexpected token out. Now we should probably read the error message. Having given up on all other things.
Now we got some /n's though.
Unexpected token. Can we put out our output before we parse it? Or well, probably after we run the command. But I like your optimism there.
That's all future knowledge of the.
That's right.
All right. So
Oh, okay. No, I see the problem now. It's
got-
it's right in front of our face. It's these curly braces. That the output isn't a JSON object. It's just a string. So you just want to delete the curly braces that are on line 22.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yep. There you go. All right, we parsed. And now shopping list.
Right. So then we need to get
To dig into the output there.
Yeah, exactly.
So the output equals JSON parse output. And the raw. Let's do the raw output and the raw. Next, raw is a bad idea. We'll fix that later.
Mm-hmm.
Probably just that we didn't have this on it.
Yeah, if we hard code that for now, let's see if that looks right.
Yeah.
This diff is unfortunately a little tricky to read.
Well, and we'll bring up an interesting question of probabilistic computing, because there's.
Oh, okay. So the other problem is that
We got new lines.
you have new lines.
Okay, well, it's actually doing what we want. It's just our testing approach here is bad, and I don't know that I'm particularly going to defend a testing approach of, or I don't know, maybe we should step back a little bit here and figure out what we actually want to do
back as
here.
you wish.
The
good news is we've proven that this approach will work if it's the approach we want to take.
Mm-hmm. So we could try some other. I mean, sounds like it'll probably do things. Maybe we can just try a couple other directives just for fun.
Yeah, I think that might inform design.
I bought apples. It's a little opaque, but let's see what happens.
Okay, so it crossed off.
Got the apples,
apples,
lost the
bananas.
bananas.
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Interesting.
So we did not give it any prompt about how to handle people buying things. So
yeah. I mean, yeah, we just said given the input, modify it. That's not a lot.
And then we gave an example for adding, but not for completing.
Mm-hmm. Be sure to maintain the checked status of the items. If they are not referenced, changed, they should stay the same. That's kind of a tautology.
It's a good truism. Right.
All right. I did it.
It did seem to do what you wanted. Fascinating. Okay, I'm still having trouble reading this output, so can we maybe just do a single assertion?
A single assertion, rather than the all three of the pieces here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it may be a little easier to read.
All right, so let's assert equal output.
Just do result 0.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Now it returned it to us as a structured list, which is wild.
How did it?
This is sort of the problem with
Wait a second.
LLMs, right? Is that
Whoa.
and now we're back to good.
So just run it twice.
Well, I mean, that actually is a valid strategy, right? Is to run it multiple times and then pick the one that it comes up with the most if you're just trying to remove hallucinations
Yep.
and oddities. Um, so let's see. This is. I still hate reading this. Darn you, mini test. Okay, so. Oh, let's do one more thing. In your on line 18 in the test, can we just add a dot trim to the end of that on line 18 in the test? Or dot strip? Strip. That's what it is.
Yeah, that'll help. We could also test. We could test individual assertions. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
And your assertion itself is problematic now
Because I changed it.
Yeah.
I
But it is still adding in the devil dogs based on our example. So there's this real problem with language models where the prompt itself can influence the output to be incorrect. It's like the don't think of a purple elephant sort of problem.
Yeah.
Once you mention the purple elephant, he shows up everywhere.
And what do you think?
We could go ahead.
Well, no, I just whether to try and make more weeks. I guess my thoughts there would be adding more examples. My thought we could add just a ton of examples. There's a diversity of examples, so at least we don't always get devil dogs. Maybe we get ho-hos sometimes, but just sort of teach it that devil dogs is not a core piece of this.
Yeah, it's not an everyday food.
The other thing is trying to ask it to do a smaller task, which is just like return a list of add banana, remove pear or something. To that it only gives us the mutations versus just having to do mutations and carrying things along.
Yeah, that certainly is possible too. And then at that point, you have the option of applying the mutation yourself or handing that off to another LLM call. But now it's more constrained.
I kind of like the idea of a hallucinating to-do list. We just keep you on your toes a little.
That's right.
The hallucinating shopping list. You're like, I thought I put that. Maybe not. Maybe it was just devil dogs. I mean, it's sponsored by the Devil Dog Corporation of America.
I'm down.
All right, where do we take it now?
Well, I mean, okay, so when you think about a to-do list, there's really 3 different tasks here, right? You add things, you check things off, and you... What else do you do?
I guess you delete things eventually. You like, get rid of the old things.
Yeah. But really, if we just had the add and check off working, I feel like that's pretty useful. So I think we make 2 tests here. We make one for the add, we make one for the check off.
All right.
And then at that point, we can sort of change the implementation however we want.
Should we... It was interesting when it parsed this out into like a structured piece of JSON. That was interesting because it would have been easier to write the test against it. Sort of a markdown to say does have apples and or doesn't have apples and does have bananas. But all right, so we've got this one here. Add pairs to the shopping list. Does this actually pass? What do I do?
Unclear.
Just doesn't like. What then? No, kick it old school here.
Yeah, it gave us the structured data again. So
I was saying that seemed helpful.
The problem is that our prompt at the top says, "Hey, only respond with JSON," And generally it's going to follow the example, but then sometimes it's going to be like, oh, cool, here's some really JSONified content.
Uh,
What if we made it like, yeah.
did you have another?
No, I mean, I think, yeah, it's just all about, it's clearly not right. The more you say the word JSON, the more likely you are to get structured JSON back. If you just paste the word JSON in here a bunch of times, I bet you get that every time. I mean, the other thing to do is just to lean into, we're not really, our JSON
That's
output
fair.
is sort of incidental. We could just tell it to only reply with the content.
Keep it. Go run away from JSON here, and
Yeah,
yeah.
I think we're confusing the issue.
Well, or yeah, we could live in JSON land, or we could live in Markdown land, but doing a little of each. Oh, now I just got an invalid one. Are you feeling Markdowny or JSON-y?
I say we go the markdown route just because I feel like it's going to be probably a happier experience.
All right. Okay.
So now we won't need to JSON parse the result.
Oh yeah, there.
Okay, so it's giving us like a, hey guys, good news, Greg bought the apples.
Result below here.
We could probably move the line 21 or remove it from now. I think we can come back to that when we work more on checking things off. I think it being in the middle of your example might be a little of a misdirection.
Why are you having a day? Hey, Ruby man.
You can do it, Ruby mine. Now it's giving us the example back.
For example, if the example
which is very
is
helpful.
Kiwis raspberries, and the directive is yo, add some devil dogs. Kiwis raspberry devil dogs. All right. Second example.
Yeah, you can try that.
iPhones and dogs.
So we're purchasing actual dogs now.
Cats. Since Greg added cats to the list.
I'm telling you, man, this is this is the deceptive part of an LLM, is that it feels like it's going to make your job easier, but then a lot of times you just end up yelling at it like, no, okay, if you start to think this, then instead you should think this.
Yeah. I guess my inclination would be to get hardcore with it and give it, these are the 3 acceptable outputs or something to get to go the sort of mutation path. What's that?
Yeah.
And then we could go back
We could absolutely try that. I mean, I think this is an experiment.
100%. Yeah. It's doing worse than I would have expected.
Well, and it was deceptively good on the first try.
Yeah, I guess it's mostly, it's just gotten worse over time.
Let's do this. What if we delete the prompt altogether and only give it the input and the directive and just let it reason and see what happens? Yeah, we can keep that first line, but
all right, I got this. All right, respond to the following mark, given the input model with the thing.
I like that you keep clicking that thing.
One day, my ship will come in.
It's gonna fix itself. Okay, so let's see. We added.
I got 2
What
apples.
did we tell?
I don't know. What did we tell it
add
to do?
apples? No, we told it to add pairs. Did we? What is the prompt?
Greg got apples.
The directive, rather.
Oh no, we asked it to do a silly thing.
Okay, so he marked apples as done.
Okay, yeah. So we were doing apples. It didn't mark the existing apples. It removed what it did was it removed pears and added purchased apples instead.
Well, no, pears was never there.
Oh yeah,
pears was never there. That's part of our.
It just added a purchased apples.
So let's change our directive back to be the one on line 21.
I mean, Greg got bought apples is tough. This one here, add pairs.
Yeah, I mean, I think we want to solve for the other one too, but nope, there we go again.
It's getting old. I'm done with that.
Okay, now we have. Okay. So we did get pairs. I think the only problem here is our formatting.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's like, sure, I did this thing.
Can we build an LLM test unit which says verify that this output looks like what I wanted it to, and then just sort of it just takes so it can check its own homework?
Well, then yes. The problem is then how much do you trust him to not be like, oh no, I totally did that right.
Well, it does make I do want some flexibility, but I could write the test case here. Ooh, it would be very cucumbery. Bring it full circle. We could write verify that this JSON has apples and has pears. The bananas is still checked off.
Yes, you could also just do that with like a series of 4 assertions, certainly. Like.
Oh yeah, but I don't even want to have to parse the markdown.
I don't know that you would, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
It feels like we're not quite there yet with this local LLM.
Maybe we need more llamas. What are we actually running on? So I haven't actually done.
I think you're running Llama 2, which is fine. Yeah, Llama 2's great. Okay, let's do this. Let's add a new test for. Even though our current test is failing, I think it's failing for silly reasons, not for valid reasons. So let's just maybe comment it out and add this new one for adding things to the list. Or sorry, for checking things off. Perfect.
All right. Yeah. What do you think?
So here we bought the apples. So we shouldn't have new pairs. Oh, or you can add pairs. That's fine too. Maybe actually that's a good test that it keeps pairs unchecked, right?
And what we're adding? Okay. And now I'm going to say
we can buy pairs.
Oh, we're going to buy the apples. We'll buy the apples.
All right, okay. So we should check off the apples in the exam output. Yep. Greg bought some. these guys.
Yeah, well, you modified the right one.
He did.
You did.
Oh, let's do one more thing. On line 19, let's just add a strip onto that result. I think that'll help our
Reading.
in the LLM code. Just at line 19, just throw a dot strip there. Okay. Nope.
Ah, darn it.
Okay, so that's a good bit more readable. Greg bought these. This is just so wrong. It's amazing how wrong it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could tell
But-
it's a markdown shopping list using check marks.
Yeah, why don't we go that route? Yeah, maybe you are a...
Oh, yeah, there you go. To-do list bot that stores the list in a markdown file. You use to indicate something is done and to indicate it is not done yet.
Right. I may do, on done, I maybe do like done / purchased or something.
Done.
Since we're using more of a purchase sort of language.
Yep. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
You do not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is a lot like training a puppy right now.
It is. It's like, no, don't pee over there.
And sometimes they pee in the right spot. Yeah, and then they pee someplace else. They find your weaknesses.
Do you mind if I make a couple edits real quick?
Do it.
All right. I'm requesting control.
Our multi-cursor sport today is brought to you by multi.app, our sponsor here on the live stream.
I don't know that this will help, but oh god, cancel.
That definitely won't help.
No. But I want to give it a try, and then we'll just give it some examples.
Yep, sure.
Okay. All right.
I'm curious. You
I'll
can
let
click
you
down,
take
go
it from here.
down in the bottom, in the terminal down in the bottom, and hit up arrow. And
Okay. Did it save? I don't know.
Yeah.
My review mines.
Hey,
Okay,
Greg's
actually,
first
this is
samples.
better. We just have the additional text. Do not add commentary. Only return the modified list. See if that helps. There's absolutely a science to prompt engineering, but it also feels like SEO where there's also a lot of black magic. It said here's the modified list.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, if we wanted it to really work, I would be quite tempted to head down the mutation path. I think.
Yes. Modified by Greg. Thank you. Yeah, it's just, again, the more you add to the prompt, the more it is likely to bring those things into the output.
I think I'm as that I think would work. I think it would be interesting to see if we just plug this into the voice control, and I tried to use it for an hour. What sort of hilarious to-do list I would have? I think would be interesting. I guess sort of to see whether or not you could fight with it in the prompt or something. You know, it's like if it keeps printing out your to-do list, and we were
Right.
having, you could say, no, take the apples go here and the other thing goes here, and I'd be like, sorry. So that would be kind of interesting. Perhaps we head that direction, or pick a new problem for next time.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I do feel like this is in that weird inflection point where it's a simple enough problem that it feels like you could throw an LLM in it, but that it's also simple enough that, like, if we just continue down the path of writing the Markdown parser, that's a constrained problem that we won't have to fight anyone for.
Yep.
So it's always like an interesting choice there. But yes, I think we should do some thinking and figure out where to go next on this.
Super. Thanks, Jeffrey. Always
Yeah.
pleasure.
It was lovely. And thanks to James Kevinger for throwing out some truly useful commentary in the chat. This really whips the Ollama's butt is one of my favorites. So,
Top chat.
all right, later.